There's a boy that grew up, and he grew up in a town that was very poor. He says, just him and his brother and his mom. He said as he was growing up in elementary school, he was shy. So when he went to school, it was all right until he started growing taller than all the other kids at a faster pace. He would just look down on kids. I've never had that problem. I'm always looking up. But he had this problem, and I really can't sympathize with this guy, seriously. But he really had a problem with being taller than all the other kids in his class. His mom had to come to the school, and I love this. The mom had to go to the school and always tell the teachers, will you let my son be the last in line, every line. When it's time for lunch, let him be the last. When it's time to get on the bus, let him be the last. Let my son be the last. Because when my son stands anywhere else in the line, it's awkward for him because he stands up here and all the other kids are here. It's just, for him, it makes him feel very uncomfortable. That's a mom. He says, I went through so many things. He goes, my mom, she goes, I remember a day that we moved into a new apartment. There was no furniture, there was no beds, there was no couch, there was nothing. He said it was the greatest day of my life because we moved into this new place. And said my mom would make sure that we had food, and I know now that she went to bed several nights without eating anything because we didn't have enough money to buy food. He said, I remember going to high school, and because I was so tall, he goes, I found out it did have its benefits. He goes, I made the basketball team as a freshman. The varsity basketball team as a freshman. So he says, as the games begin, he's out there, and he can make this shot. He is right in the place that he needs to be, and the guy has the ball, and he's like, me. And the senior will not throw it to a freshman. He throws it over to one of his friends. Well, maybe he didn't see me. So the next shot's coming up. And once again, he's in this perfect place to make the perfect shot, and he's going to score. He sees the guy take the ball, and he throws it to his friend. He's like, again. I guess he didn't see me again. This happened several times, and then he finally figured it out. These boys have been working together over the years, and they're not going to let some freshman come in and get any glory in this game. He got off the court after the game, and he went to his mom. He said, I'm done. Because I love basketball. I remember playing basketball as a kid, and I told my mom when I was a kid, when I was 6 years old, I told my mom that I was going to grow up and be an NBA star. And my mom could have said at any minute, no, you know what, there's more, and this is his own words, there are more 500, what do you call it now, Fortune 500 CEOs than there are NBA stars. But she didn't say that. She said, you can be anything you want to be. This is coming from a mom that barely can put food on the table, can't buy very much furniture or anything for the house. But she had faith for those children, for those boys, to say you can be anything you want to be. When he was at this freshman game, he came off the court and he said to his mom, I'm done. I quit. And she gave him a hug and she said, if you quit, they'll never be able to throw you the ball. And so with that perfect wording, he stayed in and he didn't quit. You know, when we think about the people in our life. The influence. Like I said, my mom had so much influence on me because I remember we didn't have food. And my mom would pray. My mom would just pray. And in tears. I'm not talking about, oh, Jesus, help us today. No, my mom was on her knees praying. We could hear her from the room. She would be in the room with the door shut and screaming out to God. Scared us to death. That's how I know. It was that kind of praying that it's either a lightning bolt is coming down and going to kill us all, or she's making some kind of connection with God. And what scared me back then is powerful for me today. Because literally, we had no food, and there would be a pot of soup on our front doorstep. I know I've told you this before, but this was a changing moment in my life that I saw that the God in heaven listens to my mom. She's the most powerful woman on the planet. She prays and God provides, and then I found out, you know what, not only that, but God actually answers prayers. The note on the soup, it was a pot of soup, and it said, this is Annie. Annie Dickey was her name. And said, this is Annie Dickey. I made too much soup for my family and thought you guys might want some. And it was on the front porch of our stove, warmed up and ready to go. It's the ministry of this woman who kept telling her son, she kept telling him, it's okay. It's okay, just go in and be who you are. There is a mom that had so much love for her kids that the son came up and goes, why don't you go out and get a boyfriend or get married or hang out with your girlfriends? Why don't you go on a girls' night out or something? And her response was, I have my 2 sons, and you 2 are all I'll ever need. You are my love and my joy. You know what, today, do you hear that today? Today we have people who are taking kids and saying, I don't want you anymore. That's not love. The love that we are to have for our children, the love that a woman, a mom has for her child should go beyond all reasoning. I don't care who my child is, I'll love them anyway. Kevin Durant is now 6'7", 240 pounds, NBA star. First time he was accepted into the NBA, he said he went out and they chose him in the second round of draft picks. They chose him and they said as soon as he came on, you're going to be the one that leads us to the championship. And through that year, they lost, and they lost worse than they lost the year before. And his mom kept encouraging him, saying, it's going to be okay. And then they moved the team to another city. And when they moved, when they made that move, the next year, things started to change. And they started playing well and playing well. And they were in the playoffs. And his mom was sitting in the number 1 seat that she always sits in, right there in the front, looking at him. And he said it was bad that she was there because they're in the playoffs and he's missing every single shot. And his mom is sitting right there watching him. He's over there trying to figure out, how they can bring this game together. He's going to bring this game together. They are not going to let this down. They're not going to let this day down. And he looks over to his mom, and his mom's not there. And then the cameras go on this lady, and they blast it on all of the screens. And there is some lady up in the at the very top doing a happy dance. His mom is on the top of the stairs doing a silly happy dance. That's my mom. We're losing. It's his mom saying, this is where you've always wanted to be. Enjoy the moment. Just be happy. She's up there and you can see the picture of her. She's doing this and she's doing that and she's jumping. And he said from that moment on, his attitude changed and they ended up winning the game and he made every single shot. Mom just had to bring him back down to earth. It was the love of that mom. I want to show you a video of Kevin Durant. The first one, make sure it's the first one.
He is the first ever player from our franchise to win this prestigious accolade. He is now in the company of all-time greats, including Hall of Famers we call simply Russell, Wilt, the Big O, Larry, Magic, and Michael, just to name a few. And now we add KD. Please welcome the 2013-14 Kia NBA Most Valuable Player, Kevin Durant.
Thank you guys so much. I'm usually good at talking, but I'm a little nervous today. First off, I'd like to thank God for changing my life and let me really realize what life is all about. Basketball is just a platform in order for me to inspire people, and I realized that. I come from a small county outside of Washington, D.C. called PG County. And me, my mom, my brother, we moved so many different places growing up. And it felt like a box. It felt like there was no getting out. My dream was to become a rec league coach. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to stay home and help the kids out and be a coach. I love basketball so much. I love playing it. I just never thought that I could make it to college, NBA, or stand up here today in front of you guys and be an NBA MVP. It's just a surreal feeling. And I had so much help. So many people believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. So many people doubted me and motivated me every single day to be who I am. I failed so many times and got back up. I've been through the toughest times with my family, but I'm still standing. In the game of basketball, I play first off because I love it. I love to have fun. I love to run up and down the court. I told Grant Hill back there, I just got done playing against him, but as a second grader, I had a Piston Grant Hill jersey. That was the first time I walked into a gym. And that's why I fell in love with the game. My mom, I think she just wanted to get me and my brother out the house for a couple hours. But when I walked into the gym, I fell in love with the game. And I didn't fall in love with it just because it was me playing. I fell in love with it because I got guys like this.
All right, she's going to change to the next video, but I want to just tell you while they're doing this. This is a 25-minute video. I don't want to show you the whole thing, but there's something that he caught my attention as soon as he said the very first thing was that he had to give praise to God. A lot of people say that. But if you read his story and hear his story, it's the way that his mom raised him. And that's what the Bible says throughout the Bible, but especially in Proverbs 30. Actually, I was going to say Proverbs 31. Proverbs 26:6. Train up a child in the way he should go. Even when he is old, he will not depart from it. And if you listen to his words and his testimony, it's what his mom had already done all those years prior. And puts him in a place like this, and he has his head straight. I just want you to hear the end of this. And if you want to watch the video, obviously it's on YouTube. And it's a great video if you just listen to his whole story. But we'll finish with this, and then after this we'll pray. It's a little bit longer than...
Couldn't be here. I know she's watching. She's going to text me as soon as I get off the stage. Thank you so much for picking me up from school when I was a kid, fixing me peanut butter and jelly sandwiches every day.
He's talking about his grandmother here.
Texting me after every game, telling me I need to stop getting texts, and loving me unconditionally. And last, my mom.
I don't think you know what you did. You had my brother when you were 18 years old. 3 years later, I came out. We were stacked, the odds were stacked against us. Single parent with 2 boys by the time you were 21 years old. Everybody told us we weren't supposed to be here. We moved from apartment to apartment by ourselves. One of the best memories I had is when we moved into our first apartment. No bed, no furniture, and we just all sat in the living room and just hugged each other. Because that's what we thought we made it. And when something good happens to you, I don't know about you guys, but I tend to look back to what brought me here. And you wake me up in the middle of the night in the summer times, making me run up a hill, making me do push-ups, screaming at me from the sideline of my games at 8 or 9 years old. We wasn't supposed to be here. You made us believe. You kept us off the street, put clothes on our backs, food on the table. When you didn't eat, you made sure we ate. You went to sleep hungry. You sacrificed for us. You the real MVP. Last, just like to thank God again. He's the first and the last, Alpha and Omega. I thank you for saving my life. I appreciate everybody. Thank you for all the writers for voting for me. Dan.